at least 40 years old. Most people rode little motorbikes, a lot of ancient Z125s and Honda Groms, since they were so cheap and easy to work on. People needed their vehicle to last through 3 or 4 rebuilds at least. Warren didn't answer, but he lowered the gun and immediately coughed. The cold air and dust made his asthma worse. So did stress. Every time, that sound made her desperate. He didn't used to wheeze like that when the temperature changed. Warren reached into the end of the mossy log and brought out a little wooden bird, half carved. Because he knew, too. They couldn't go home while that man was here. "We don't owe him anything," he said. "We don't." Dinah rolled open her knife sheath and pulled out the middle blade. Him taking the garage in town had settled their debt. Gabriel Gates wasn't a bank, just a local farmer whose family had been here for 5 generations, same as most. But her mother had been crying some nights, for months, and she wouldn't say why. Dinah stood, her favorite knife in her hand, her lightest drop point. All her knives were single-piece and double-edged, but this one was her favorite for throwing. Good aim took constant practice, and if she imagined the tree was a man, a very specific man, her aim improved. Usually she imagined this pin oak was her father, and she threw those blades until her arms ached. Today, she was picturing Gabriel Gates. But it didn't really matter. This tree was a skeleton man, and her knife would turn him from skin and blood into bones. She was distracted enough for the blade to strike and bounce instead of sink. She shook her head once, hard, and pulled out a second knife. Her blades weren't true throwing knives, but she needed them for more than target practice. She balanced the blade and her body, and she whipped the knife into the air. It split tree bark and held. Warren grinned. "There you go." His coat was too big, and he looked younger than 11 in it. It only belonged to him because it no longer belonged to their father. Warren's gaze strayed again through the trees to their house. She yanked her knife out of the tree and sat beside him. He started working away on the little bird. She watched his knife tracing texture, so carefully, onto the individual feathers. "Isn't it weird how birds have wings and legs?" he said. "Like, they can hop around on the ground, but they can also fly high up if they want. Which would you rather have, wings or legs?" If she'd been born with either one, she'd be fine with it, but she didn't want to have to make the choice. "I don't know. Wings seem pretty risky." "Legs are risky too, though." Warren flipped the bird over and started working on the other wing. A door banged. Gates strode out to his truck, but they could barely see him around the corner of the house. He was thin-faced and broad-shouldered, and in those suits he always wore, just a bit too long. He looked like a skeleton pretending to be human. Warren pulled his gaze away from Gates back to her. Her brother's gray eyes were just like their mom's. Deep, intelligent, scared, trying to figure out a world that didn't want him. The driverless silver truck backed carelessly out of the yard. "How about you go feed the chickens?" she said. "I should help Mom with dinner." The rumble of the engine faded. Warren's shoulders relaxed. "Yeah, okay." Dinah headed for the house. Warren would mess around outside until she made him come in. Telling him to feed the chickens just gave him an excuse to avoid going inside. Because even as scared as he was, he didn't want to know. He wanted to do his carvings and take care of his chickens and climb around in the ravine. And she could at least give him that.